What's up, people? What is up? Wie geht's, Leute? Heute sind wir wieder dabei. In aller Herrgottsfrüh. Wir sind beim Urban. Wir sind beim Urban. Bei mir schaut's aus am Seitentisch. Furchtbar. Ich habe meine Kamera ein bisschen bewegt. Ein bisschen weiter weg gemacht. Ein bisschen. Und wie geht's? Ist alles klar bei euch? So. Jetzt machen wir wieder ein bisschen weiter. Sonst, oh, fast vergessen. So. Und zu groß. Und jetzt, oh, ich brauche mein anderen Bild. Sonst kenne ich mich überhaupt nicht aus. Den daher, dass wir den so sehen kann, dass ich weitermachen kann. Dann zack. Warum weiß, was soll das? So. Zack. Machen wir noch eins. Und schon geht's los. Sagst du. Wenn man immer so früh arbeitet, dann macht man bloß Fehler. Oder vielleicht bin es bloß ich. Nix wie Fehler. Zack. So. Jetzt haben wir den. Machen wir den. So. Machen wir noch eins. Der kommt dann daher. Sollte auf jeden Fall gleich sein. So. Okay. So. Ach. Ich hätte es wirklich zuerst fertig machen sollen. Machen wir nicht so früh anfangen. Doch. So. Jetzt machen wir den einfach fertig. Ach komm. So. Bis nach unten. Zack. Och. Ich muss wirklich ins Bett gehen. What's up, Chris? How's it going, man? Put one up here too. I guess since you are the official first person, I gotta stop speaking German. You're up early. What's the occasion? Also, I have news for you just in case you didn't already hear it. You still there? Trying to fix my sleeping schedule. To what? You been up partying too late? Is that the problem? So, I don't know if you've heard yet, or if they've told you, but I figured I should tell you before you start getting stuff from rumors. I no longer work at NSU. More like gaming too late.
The Ninja Empire is free.
Oh,
And unstoppable.
Orin Scott.
Our ninja spirit is fueled by fire and driven by razor-sharp determination. When we take on a mission, we must succeed or die. Our style is unique and deadly, and no one wants to suffer the wrath of the Ninja Empire.
Thank you so very much, Orin Scott. Thank you very much for that subscription. Means absolutely so much to me. Welcome to the Ninja Empire. You are our newest member, and thank you very much. It allows me to actually continue to make this project. I hope to make it really, really cool. We got a lot of stuff going on as far as character designs. Soon I'm going to be doing design works and world building, because I think that that's going to be important, but I wanted to get the main 12 characters done. Right now I'm redesigning all my original characters that I did, mostly because this is the way they looked, right? And then I'm going this more chibi style, right? So they all end up looking like this style. So we're switching everything over, mostly because it's a lot easier to draw, and I get to do a lot more fun and experiment and stuff like that. So thank you so very much for joining. It means the world to me. Thank you. Enjoy the emote, which I'm going to be switching to something ninja related soon. And then yeah, we're gonna start getting a lot more stuff for subscribers going on. Probably do some giveaways. I got a bunch of stickers, so I gotta figure out how to do like subscriber giveaways and stuff like that. So thank you so very much, man. Oh, Ben, what's going on, man? All right, so back to Chris. Damn, for real? Because of COVID? No. And no, not because of layoffs. I got a different job. A better job. One that I think will appreciate me and what I want to do for education and as an artist a lot better. And so it's a better situation for me. Not to mention I get to be way more closer to home. Sorry, let's turn this music down. I can already hear that it's super loud. Sorry about that. Better job is better. Better job is so much better. I'm not losing sleep. I mean, the thing is that the people that I'm working for now have already been way better than the 4 years I spent at the other institution. And so, and I haven't even officially started yet. And it's already proven to be way more better. That's what I said. Proven to be a lot better. And it's just, I mean, it's just a thing that where you're like, you know what? If I can actually affect some change and it doesn't hurt people's feelings, because I knew that it felt like I was rattling people's feathers, and all I was doing was being a teacher, and that was a problem. And I'm pretty sure, Chris, you've noticed tension that was floating around and stuff like that. So, you know, it's just like, you know what I mean? And so at this point, it was better for me, not only for my family, but also for me education-wise and creatively. When you're told one thing and that you're going to bring concept art, sequential art, and animation to the fine arts department, and then 4 years later, you're still being told that you're going to be able to bring it, you know, that's a lot of time invested into a situation that there was no end to. There was absolutely no end. It was not going to happen. And so many of my students wanted to do animation, wanted to do comics, wanted to do concept art, and I couldn't teach it. And when I was doing stuff on the side, because, you know, I had nowhere to go. My family was up here in DC, and I was down in Norfolk. So I would be at the building until 11, 12 o'clock, like midnight, going, I'm just drawing. And people would come in, I'd be streaming, and they're like, hey, do you have a minute? Can you help me with this? And I'm like, absolutely. And it was like, that was a problem. You know, I mean, it was a problem because I was constantly there, but it was a problem because I was helping students in an unconventional way, and people hated that, and that's when it became a problem. So Ben, man, how have you been? Haven't heard from you in a while. It's good to see you online, at least. I find it funny, Chris, that you said you don't like my department. If it'd look a lot different if it was my department. Just saying. Just say it. Let's come up to here. Yeah. And we need to go down to right here. Look right? Looks right. I know NSU was the way it was. I would have went to community college. Yep. You know what's funny? That's where I went. I'm teaching at a community college now. Working still in Canada. Oh man, you're in Canada. Okay. It's nice here. Just came off of a year of boards on a preschool show. Decided to take a break from TV for a bit, doing a lot of mixed content stuff. Merch illustration 1 week, character designs another, and iconic graphic next. Work is steady. It's pretty great. That's awesome, man. I'm glad to hear that. It's always good to hear that people are still doing well, especially now in this horrendous time. So it's really nice to actually see and hear that people are doing great, man. And yeah, I love merch illustration. That's always fun. Merch illustration is always fun. That's great. Yeah, when's the preschool show come out? I have a preschooler. Or is it just for Canada? I'm trying to enjoy it while it lasts. I know, right? The hard part is that, like, for me, I'm going, I need to make something for myself. That's why I'm working on this project. I'm like, and I think my time with NSU had something to do with that. You know, where it was like, I thought I was going to be building a career at NSU, and it just seemed like I was spinning my wheels. I wasn't really going anywhere. And so I was like, well, if that's what's going to happen, I need to build a project, something that I can have ownership of again, and hopefully continue on into my years and make some really cool stuff while I'm at it. And so that's why I started doing this. I think, you know, having something like I had Dark Legacy, which was cool. I had my own product. I was working on it. Life was great. Oh, wait a minute. That's not going up where I need it. You know, and so I had that project. It was really cool. And then it got to be too much. Like, excuse me. Dang it. The whatchamacallit, the demand was so much that I just couldn't keep up with the demand of what people wanted. And so, you know, I was able to get it picked up. It got published and stuff like that. I was hoping that was going to go a little bit further, but it didn't. And so now it's like, all right, fine. So that's where I'm at. And then, of course, you know, luckily being able to find a new job, you know, that, especially inside of a pandemic, you know what I mean? Being able to find a new job is crazy, and I'm so happy that it actually happened. And then, you know, trying to build my YouTube channel and stuff like that. Let's see, 44 Cats, Italian series, no idea where you can catch it. Hulu or Netflix maybe. I worked on season 2. All right, 44 Cats. What's up, bud? Oh, so you were up and rumbling at 4:30 in the morning. 4:40. I saw. He wanted to be with you, and you probably were like, no. I know.
And then I was cold, so I put him in his bed.
I thought you still had the blanket on you.
I did, but like on half my body.
Oh.
And I was cold.
44 Cats. All right, got it. Sorry, that was my son who came down and started talking. I feel bad for him because my other son stole his blankets. Speaking of finding jobs, I just filled out some job applications so I can make some money. Nervous about working during the COVID. Yeah, I understand that. Like, luckily for Nickelodeon, I went, oh, you can find it on Nick? Nice. Nickelodeon and Dion. All right, I'm gonna have to look it up because, like I said, I have a preschooler, so perfect. Perfect.
What do you do?
Huh?
What do you
a friend of mine worked on a TV show called 44 Cats, and it was for preschoolers. So since we have a preschooler, I figured maybe we could actually use it. What kind of job did you apply for? Because, I mean, for me, like, one of the main reasons why I was like, it's time for me to vamoose out of here is because the school is going, the school is actually going live. You know, they're like, oh yeah, we're about to do this. And I'm like, we're about to open campus. And I just saw an article about UNC. They are now going all digital, or I mean all virtual, because they had 130 new cases of COVID since they opened. And I don't know about you, but that's too much. It's like, that's just too much. And I don't want to go back to a place where we just don't have an answer, you know. And it's not anything on the school side. It's just, you know, it is what it is. We don't have an answer to this virus, and thus we should not be playing around with it. You know what I mean? Like, that's just where I am. Why don't we do as most places do, or did, the ones that were doing all great, and keep our butts at home? You know? Just, yes, it sucks. Yes, it's hard. You know, I got kids. I'm going to have to figure out how to teach my class while they're doing digital learning and our stuff is all in the same space, you know? So my computer, their computer, it's all in the same space, right? But I have to be able to provide instruction while I'm at home. So, you know, gonna have to do some quick thinking, but I'd much rather have that inconvenience to me than having to go home and risk my family's health or my health or anyone else's health, you know? And that's just stupid. Customer service, not really much else I can do. Yeah, I saw that about UNC. Yeah, Notre Dame opened up. They had 160 new cases. Now they're going all digitally. Who could have seen it coming? I know, right? That I posted the article of UNC, and that is literally the response that I got from everybody. And they're just like, oh man, who would have saw that coming? No one knew, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, you know, and then you have a college who is doing the same thing, you know, and they're just like, oh yeah, no, we're good. We're good. We have things in place that will allow us to keep everybody safe. And I'm like, no, you really don't. You know, because I saw their ideas of what they wanted to do for like sanitation and stuff, and I'm like, that's not really, you know, gonna do it. That's not gonna do it. That's not gonna do it. You know that they want the students to sanitize the workspace. They're like, oh yeah, we're gonna have the students sanitize the workspace, their workspace. And I'm like, but no, like, when are we taking away from instruction? Are we adding on extra time? Are we, you know, it's just like, how do you plan on making that a thing and still keeping the work time that needs to happen? Whoops. You know, still keeping the work time that the students are supposed to have and keeping everyone safe. It's just a logistical nightmare. And while I know that some people may think that they have a good grasp on how to keep you guys safe, I would be really, really worried. But that's just me, you know. But luckily, I was able to find a job that felt the same way and was like, yeah, we're staying virtual we're staying virtual, and that made, you know, the decision really, really easy when it was like, oh wait, I can stay home. I can figure out how to stay home and be safe and keep my kids safe and keep other people safe. Like I've realized that the college that I'm going to has a lot of international students, and I'm like, well, if they have a lot of international students, they're coming from all over the world, right? And so I don't know where they've been. You know, nothing against them, but right, like, who knows? And I would just much rather be safe than sorry. I mean, I think that's a legit concern, right? And when people are like, well, you can either come to work or you can, you know, pretty much be let go. That's crazy. It's crazy to me. So, yeah. Every student is going to follow the rule. Yeah. No, isn't going to follow the rules anyway. I know, and they're like, you have to tell them they have to have a mask on, right? And it's like, oh, you know, they have to have a mask, and I'm like, how many people are actually going to have a mask? You know, or do you kick them? Are you able to kick them out? Are you able to kick them out of class because, you know, they don't have a mask? Like, how's that going to work? Or are we going to consistently provide masks? You know, which would also be something that we could do. It's like, are you going to provide masks the whole time? You know, how much sanitation are we supposed to have? They wanted the teachers to sanitize the entire classroom every time the class let out. And I was like, well, when are we gonna do that? We only have 15 minutes in between class. And then, you know, there's scheduled meetings and you know, lunch. You gotta eat sometime. But, you know, I'm always the troublemaker. Because I got questions. Mostly because I don't want to die yet. 3 days to answer. Yeah, but here's the thing. You don't know you have anything until 2 weeks later. So you have no idea. So you're coming into class, infecting everybody, thinking you're fine, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh wait, you know, I don't feel so good. All right, now, well, let's go ahead and get tested. So then you go ahead and get tested, right? And then you pop positive. So for the past 2 weeks, you've been infecting all of the students, all of the teachers, everybody who's there. You've been infecting everybody. You know what I mean? It's like, that's a problem. That's a problem. Call me crazy. I don't want that. So I'm really interested to see what's going to happen when they open up campus. Everyone comes in, they're going to talk about how safe they are, and then they're going to have 150 cases, you know, of COVID. And a lot of the teachers at Norfolk State are old. You know, like old. So it just seems like you're starting to put people at risk for no reason. There's really no reason whatsoever to go into class. because it would just be easier. I mean, remember the transition we had, Chris, when they're like, all right, we're gonna go digital or virtual, I mean, and it was in the middle of the semester. Remember how awkward that was, because nobody knew what to do. Like, how is this gonna work? What's the standard? How are we supposed to do things? How long are we supposed to be here? Like, there are no answers, right? And I heard from a lot of people that it was like their classes were really bad, and it's like, well, that's because nobody was really prepared for it. Which, you know, how do you really prepare for a pandemic? But instead of going, all right, look, we're just gonna go ahead and say, you know, bam, done. No, we're gonna do virtual. You know, they're like, nah, we're gonna try it, and then go back to what we had, which is just bad. Also, advisors obviously don't know how to work from home because they're doing a horrible job. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think that what's happening isn't that they don't know how to, because it's really not that difficult to work from home. Yeah, is it an adjustment? Absolutely. Oops. You know, it's like, you know, because I'm over here and I'm shushing my kids. You know, luckily when we were teaching, they were really quiet, right? And we were able to keep them upstairs or something like that. But now the schools are going virtual too, and so that is going to be a big issue, right? Because there might only be one computer in the house. There might only be, I don't know, you know, there might only be one space. Who knows what's going to happen? So now it's another layer of like, oh my goodness, I don't know what's really going to happen. And people are going to freak out, and then people use that. They're just going, oh, well, you know, COVID, we had a horrible time because I'm adjusting to COVID, or I'm adjusting to this. So, you know, I think people are actually taking advantage of the situation because they can, right? Just, that's it. Not necessarily because it's a problem. Because, I mean, a computer is a computer is a computer is a computer. It doesn't matter where you have it. As long as you have access, which I never did, but as long as you have access, you can do your work at home. Anyone who says they can't, I mean, the only reasons why you wouldn't be able to do it is because you don't have access. Right? So if they're keeping the access away from people, like, oh, well, you need this, but, you know, we don't want to give it to you for some odd reason, then, you know, you can't have it. And then that becomes hard, right? And you're just like, well, what am I supposed to do? That was the situation I found myself in. People would be like, hey, I want to get advice. I'm like, I don't have access to the system. And then when I asked for it, I got NSU'd. And Chris, I know you know what that means. Do, do, do. Don't need to, should just fill it in. Oh, I can't. That's right. It's got a huge hole. On a lighter note, does anyone have any good news going on? I mean, I know I thought I started with good news. You know, I was able to get a job closer to home and stuff like that. But anyone got some good news? Anyone do some commissions? Any poor soul get like popped with COVID and then, you know, they're still doing okay now? Yes, I do. Plus, I asked you to advise me. I'm sorry. Sorry that I can't advise you anymore. Because, I would have loved to. I'm like, I had no problems. Didn't matter where they were. Didn't know, didn't matter. I was all like, yeah, let's get this advising going. I got in trouble for that. I got in trouble for helping students who couldn't find their advisor get registered for class. I mean, and not just a little bit, but I mean like, like I got like mad in troubles. Yeah, keep it up, man. I look forward to seeing what this new job is about. All right, Ben, man, thanks for stopping in, and thanks for letting me know about the show. I'm gonna have to look it up. Mike, what's up? What's up, Mike? What's going on? You doing all right? You up grinding, or are you just up?
Like me.
Some people, they just get up, which is fine. That's mad shady. But some good news. I did a drawing and I'm getting better. Nice. I know. You need to get back to posting. Loved seeing how you were getting better with those drawings, man. You were knocking them out. I actually finished some more 10-minute drawings. I gotta post. So I mean, no, I saw that you were getting better. I was enjoying your progress, man. And it kind of sucks that, I can only see it, via the Discord now, and not in class, not see you grow in class. That is the one thing that always gets me is, when I have to, when you leave a new job or you start a new job or whatever the case may be, you don't get to, you miss the interactions with the people that you made relationships with. Morning workout before the daily grind? Yeah. I have to start back up. I got a little lazy. I was actually doing really well for a while, and then I don't know what happened. Just kind of stopped. So, we're going to fix that, got to get back to it. Don't want my kids getting stronger than me. Y'all got that natural young youth. And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, Dad, remember? And then, you try and be smart. And I have to beat you up. How would that be fun? So, Mike, are you going to the gym, or are you staying out of potential COVID spread land? I know a lot of people are like, I'm going back to the gym. I'm like, I would love to go back to the gym. When I was going to the gym, man, I was getting it. But then, COVID happened, and I'm like, I am not going in that at all. Yes, man, join the Discord, post some work. We got a couple teachers, got some pros in there. It's a small group right now, but we're all trying to help each other get better. Give some critique if you want it. Keep it real positive if you're like, oh, I just want to show off my work. Do a lot of good stuff in there. Fun. We put some tips and tricks. I'm just really trying to, in the Discord, we're really just trying to build a community that people would really like to go to. And you can promote yourself, promote your work. People tell you, the people that are in there are pretty chill. I started away for a while at CrossFit, so it's relatively distanced. Okay. Stay safe out there, man. So many people are catching this, you know. And that's a big problem. But yeah, no, I'm gonna go back to my routine. Like I wanted to walk the dog, but then he got hurt. He's still recovering. Like I was for a while, we were walking for like an hour in the morning. And that was really good for me, you know, like we would walk for an hour, then I'd come home, and then I'd start doing push-ups and set-ups and stuff. So it was good times. But that's what happened. We were working out the whole time together, the dog and, you know, and I would do our walk and whatnot, and then I would, you know, hit the floor and do a lot of push-ups and stuff like that. And then he got hurt. And then I stopped because I didn't go out in the morning anymore, and I was lazy to just be like, I guess I'm gonna do like 1,500 push-ups. And I was like, I don't want to. It's funny how just one little thing can like destroy your workout routine. And I wasn't even the one that got hurt. You know, it was like, oh, my workout partner, and I'm like, ugh, I don't want to anymore. But I got to get back into it. Because once the school is allowed to open up again, they have a green screen room, and I had this project that I did a long time ago at the Art Institute, where I would take really dynamic shots of poses and stuff like that to give people dynamic poses for artists and animators and stuff like that, because you don't necessarily find those anywhere. You know, you get the basic ones, but I mean, I wanted to do really crazy shots. You know, so underneath shots, through the fingers, you know, like doing, you know, like trying to do this, you know, to really push like magic use and stuff, you know, like stuff like this, and give people a really, really good source of reference material. And when I was doing that, you know, it was just me as a model, or a friend of mine's who who knew what I was trying to do, so we were able to do really cool poses and stuff. But, you know, got to get into a little bit better shape. I got to get into a little bit better shape for that. Should probably put that on another layer. Is that underneath? Yeah, that is underneath. Look at you being all studious, doing your schoolwork and stuff. Math is boring because you don't see the art in it. I don't like the math. That's fair. Not everyone does. Not everyone likes math. Where are you at now? I'm still in the DC area. I haven't left. I've been in DC for 15 years now. So Mike, man, what have you been up to lately? You got any good news to tell everybody? Like, this is what I do. I'm awesome. Found out that Chris got himself a new job. Man, it was pouring this morning. Like, I was still gonna take the dog outside. You know, I was like, oh, we go on a short walk because, you know, he's still recovering and whatnot. So we go on short walks now. But, man, and he knew too. Like, I got down, went to the place where we keep, like, the poop bags. And he was like, yes, let's go. And I'm like, you don't hear that rain? You know, opened the door. It was funny. I opened the door and he looked outside and was like, yeah, no. I'll be back if you're still on. Catch you later. All right, man. Have a good one. Enjoy your workout. Definitely gonna need a new layer. Every time I do these kind of rap things, I always draw outside the lines of just who I am. So I don't even try and fight it anymore. Put it on a new layer, you'll be alright. No. I needed a little bit more upbeat music so that I could be awake. I'm going back to bed. Why are you even up? But, you know, good morning? Good night? I mean, I don't know. Go get that roast beef and go get that roast beef super sandwich. Get your butt out of bed, do some work, get that money. Yeah. Come here, erase this line out. I mean, because I'm a soldier and an artist. Yeah, but you just said you were going back to bed. Can't claim those things, man. Then be like, yeah, I'm awesome. I work all the time. It's like, We on the same time zone, man. Like I said, go get your roast beef sandwich. You start getting lazy, those people out there in NYC going to be better than you. You can't have that. Remember? You can't have that. I never said I was a perfect soldier. That's fair. Save. Look at me, only 3 layers. 3 layers. Yes. Yes, 3 layers is really good. Especially for me. Do we make the blade small? Thin line? I think it could be a little bit thicker than that, though. There we go. Actually, that was almost perfect. There we go. See if we can get lucky and knock this one out too. Speaking of, so we'll watch The Last Kingdom. You and the lady will. Last Kingdom. All right. Last Kingdom on Netflix. All right, got it. Wrote it down. All right, let's see if we can make this line. Nope, that one was not it. It's close. I think we're gonna stop because that's so close. There we go. There we go. Don't fake it. Let the computer draw the line. Freddie, you get any more work? Was that client happy? The client, you know, from that project that you really didn't like? Gesundheit. 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 You all right over there? Well, can't have that. specialness. All right. All right, man. I see you. I see you. But how they like it? They cool with it? I mean, they should be. Modify, contract by dose. There we go. Oh, it's time for you to wake up. Are you though? You know, I do love me some digital. Just if anything else, to draw them circles. If anything else, it's because of the circles. Because, oh my goodness, if I had to do all that, loved it. The client know nothing about design. That is true, but as long as they're happy, you get paid and then they refer you out to people. So that's really, you know, in the end, you still got to make them happy, no matter what, whether they're right or wrong. They're the ones that pay the bills. What did I do? Control F. What was my flip? Shift F? Oh, that was not it. Is it? Alt F? Hey, just posted a drawing in Discord if you want to check it out. What? No, don't come over here with that. I don't know. It's been so long since I've done your math.
So it's -7 here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they just put this over here, so they minus it. So this is 3 over here is equal to -7x, but they just get rid of the negative altogether. Like, it's just gone. And I don't know why.
See, and that's one of the problems with, like, a lot of predetermined classes. You can't really ask anybody at that point. Like, how? And the bad part is, like, I would love to help you, but like I said, I've been out of math for...
Mommy always told me to text Miss Carolee and her math friends.
Right. I mean, to be honest, it's probably not such a bad idea.
I mean, that's what I do. Like, when I really don't understand it, I honestly think it was just a mistake.
Right.
But if it is something, I do not understand it at all.
Just post it in Patreon.
I'll be back.
Alright. There we go. I was like, wait a minute. Did I mess something up? If you pay me, I love the design. Fair. I was like, I'm sorry. I didn't know if do you want me to look at it on stream? Sorry, it popped up and I was like, oop, might not want that. Do you want me to look at it on stream and talk about it? Math is like Egyptian hieroglyphics to me. Oh, Freddie, are you seeing any of the other posts, or is Facebook being special again? Do I need to try and figure out what's going on? Just wanted to get to a spot. Hold on. A spot where I can save, and then I'll look at your stuff, Chris. Boy Ben. All right, so it's just Facebook then. You're not seeing anything from like YouTube or anything like that. Because it's supposed to, the program I'm using is supposed to push it out to, supposed to push it out towards, ooh, got really thick really fast. Facebook as well. But if it's not doing that, I need to figure out why. All right, just this last thing. There we go. There we go. All right, wait. What's your Twitch? Follow the Kaiser. My pretty much all my social media is follow the Kaiser. All right. Oh wait, no. See, this has gotta come in. This is too much. So that would be here. That would literally connect. All right. One last thing, I promise. There we go. All right. There's my last thing. I'm gonna erase this line. All right. Erase my line. Make sure you save before Jesus the Thunder God turns off your power. All right. I saved. And then that one would be okay. All right. Look at that. We almost just have to do, well, not almost. We only have to do the feet. And then I just got to throw the colors that already are established in my other drawing in here, and then Dunskies. All right. So let's bring over this. All right. So Chris, what were you using? I have a Prime sub sitting in my pocket. Oh man, I would love your subscription from Prime. That would be very, very helpful, because then we'd be getting really, really close to where I could get a new emote, right? I'm getting there. I'm building, really building. I've only been on for a couple months, and I'm just a teacher, so my stuff ain't blowing up, but we're gonna get there. I was like, we're gonna get there. All right, so with this, like I said, Chris, I need to know what material. Markers. Okay. So you need a wider variety of markers, right? Because for the most part, I'm gonna download this one Save image as. Save. And then we're going to take this one. Save the image of this one. Alright, put that away. Alright. Now we're going to open up these two so we can have them side by side. Alright, so with yours, so your colors are a lot lighter than the original, right? Which is fine. I mean, that's here and there. But if you are going to come in and try and do like strong lines, right? You're gonna have to make sure that they connect, all right? Because you see how just gonna use different colors. You see how like this right here isn't really this color, and this color is not the same color, and it's because you kept going over it, right? So you kept going over those. You got to take one color if you're gonna try and do graphic, right? Like you're coming in, you're like, these are my shapes, right? Like this is my shape. This is the shape that I want to have. So if you're coming in and you're going, these are my shapes, right? Then everything kind of has to be the same color in order for that to happen, right? Because if you come in and you do, oh, that's right, I should probably do that on another layer. But if you come in and you make it all one shape, then it looks very graphic, right? And that's the style that I normally do. And so you can definitely get away with that, even if you're going, this right here needs to be a lighter shape. Right, you come on there and you're like, this is do wish there was a shortcut command for that. You're like, there's that shape, right? And then you're like, I need to get that darker, so I want to try and push the idea of kind of, you know, like I'm pushing the idea that there is light and you're doing this very detailed like cuts for your drawing, right? And you've got multiple colors going on, because I normally do a mid-tone, a shadow, and then I'll put in a highlight depending on what the material is. If it's reflective, then I put in a highlight. If it's not, I don't. But this is like the way that you have it is something that I've done in Illustrator class, you know, where it's like, oh, well, I've done I need to make these shapes, and you can use all kinds of different colors to kind of like piece together what looks like the face. But what generally happens is a lot of people go so, you know, distant in the color wheel that it looks like you've got these weird shapes, you know, just you're like this glass mosaic that people have put together. But if you use subtle colors, you can actually blend, you know, with these graphic shapes. But this is what indicates light and shadow, you know, so you can definitely do this. Just you need to be aware that if you're doing it with markers, you need a wider variety of markers so that it looks like it's blending rather than you putting together puzzle pieces. Also, I do have darker browns, but I just chose the wrong colors. They should have been darker. Live and learn, right? Live and learn. So that's, you know, that's what I would go about with the color. You need to do a color sheet, right? Take all your colors, whatever company you have, like whichever markers you are using. I'm pretty sure that they have a color sheet that has all their colors markered, right? And So they have them all labeled, and then you can marker it in so that you can hang it up and you can see it, right? And you can go, oh, I want that brown, or I want this blue, because I need to do it with all my markers again because I lost my sheet. Yeah. But it's like, it's a visual representation. You know exactly what color you're getting, because what I do now is I have a separate sheet of paper and I'm like, is this the color I want? Is this the color I want? Is this the color I want? And that's just never working, right? It just doesn't work. All right. Now, as far as, I'm going to take that off. Now, as far as the face, right? So his head is not, I'm gonna go to blue. His head, A, is not in the right angle, right? So yours is really, you know, kind of straight up and down, but his is not. His face is actually, let's go here, right? His face is actually angled if you try and go through the nose, right? So he's actually angled, right? Where yours is straight up and down. Right? You see the difference right there? So that right there changes your entire drawing. Just by him having that tilt of the head really gives it a little bit more of a dynamic feel for the composition, and it just makes it look a little bit more like the camera shot that you're going for. You just got to tilt, you know, you got to tilt the head. It's very important when you're doing stuff like that, right? And because of that, because you were changing the angle of the head from the image, his head got flat, right? Because his head is actually a lot wider. So if we, you know, if we were to do this, right? We come in and it pushes his head off, right? Just by doing that. And if you were to like, plus I think his head's too small for the body you got. So, but if I tilt it, right, it allows his head to have more volume here, right? And you cut that part of his head off, or his face off. So just by tilting the head, giving that angle really pushes out the rest of his face, where when you tilted it forward, it slims down his face and it makes it look like his head's too small, right? And then at that point, you know, everything's kind of rounded because it goes around the face. That's one thing that a lot of people really forget, is that it's not actually a straight line. Your face is round, you know, roundish, you know. So if you're drawing an eye here, your other eye wouldn't just come straight across. It's, you know, you want to try and make it mark on the same spot. Nose, right? Because that the nose part is round, right? And then the lips, right? It wouldn't be straight because then it would be awkward. But then you come in with your lips based on the rounded off line. Right? Does that make sense? Okay, and then when working with eyes, right? Because you've got this thing going on, right? Which kind of works, okay? But it actually comes down further if you look at his eyelid, right? And then it comes up, and then it dips down. Right? And then this part comes out and comes around. You want to make sure that you catch the roundness of his bottom eye, right? And then we've got this little conduit for tears, right? And then, I mean, because you have it here, like you have the shadow of the eye, right? Of the eyelid. But it's weird because you drew this part, right? Here. You kind of try to represent that here, but then you didn't go all the way with it, right? And that's the thing. I think the one thing you need to decide is, how are you trying to make this look? Are you trying to make it look like a very realistic drawing, right? And you're trying to catch it's like, oh, his line's not, his eye isn't actually round, right? Like we would normally draw an eyelid. We just go, all right, there we go. Because it's a pencil drawing. You're like, all right, cool, I'm done. As far as doing line art. Or are you going to come in and go, all right, well, this part is thicker. All right, and then this comes in over his eye like so. All right, and then this comes down and is thin, is way thinner, right? And then we come in here, all right, and that's thin. Here's this, right? It's like you need to figure out what it is you're trying to do with your drawing. If it's supposed to be line art, right, then you have to make line decisions. If you're trying to make realistic art, then you have to make calculated decisions based on what your reference is. Real trouble with the eye, yeah. But, where you can see here, like this is such a strong, right? That's such a strong line there. Even in him, it's like it's such a strong line. And then when we come to you, this is so soft because you did it with marker. And I try to go more realistic. Well, if you're gonna try and go more realistic, you definitely need to blend your colors more, right? And then you have to look, right? Because look at all of this, right? That's not his skin tone, right? Like his skin tone's not white, but that's from the light that's coming in from over here that's reflecting on his face, that we then get to see here, 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 right? You get to see where all the light's reflecting off his face, and it's a multiple light source, because then you also have light coming from this window, right? From this window here, you got light coming, and now we have light here, 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 and here, right? And yours is not necessarily, you're not necessarily doing that with yours, because you went, okay, here's my skin tone, right? Skin tone, and then here's my shadow, which literally looks like you were trying to do a more graphic design, right? You're trying to do more of a graphic style. So you gotta make an honest to goodness decision, like, I'm going to do realistic. If you're gonna do realistic and you're trying to do skin tone, you gotta have like 4 or 5 markers, right, that give you a nice blend from light to dark, so that you can actually start with a really light color, cover the whole thing or the space that you're trying to do, then come in with the next shade up. You can blend it by bringing the other marker on top of it, right? So now you have this light, dark, and then this light that's in between, and now you're trying to blend that out, and then you keep going from there. You have to keep blending to make it look like it's more realistic. But then you have to really keep in mind about all of the highlights, right? Like you generally don't go from dark to light as far as doing these kind of realistic drawings. You go from light to dark, right? So you have to start light, put all your lights down, and not white, like if you're doing white, like you see on like right here, right? You have to leave that open. You have to leave that open, but then you have to actually use like 10% or something that's close to white, but also blends off into another color, so that it will actually blend into your color and it doesn't look like you just slapped white on someone's face, right? Doing realistic is tough. It's really, really hard. It's time consuming. I've watched a lot of people do it. I've done it, and it's something that takes hours upon hours upon hours. And I don't mean like, oh, this took me 2 hours. I'm talking about this took me 48 hours, right? If you're trying to do realistic, you're putting in time. You're putting in a lot of work. And for those who do like the super realistic, like the hyper realistic stuff, I mean, they are working so much with so many different materials. You rarely, or I've rarely seen a realistic illustration of a person, a dog, or the animal, whatever, where the person was like, oh, I did this all with color pencil, or I did this all with marker. They were like, oh, well, it's a mixed media. I did markers, I did pencils, I did, I brought in gel pens, I've done, I even put a little bit of crayon in here, because it gives me the texture I'm looking for. So, if you're really serious about doing realistic, it's a choice, like it's a decision. Like you are making a full-on commitment to the fact that you're going to be doing this, and that is something that you have to decide. Like, I'm not telling you not to, but you're gonna have to be like, I'm gonna do it. Like, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna spend the next 6 months trying to figure out how to do it, at least 6 months, right? And then you're gonna keep practicing for the next. Did you need me?
No.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted to see if you're still working on it.
Chris asked me to look at the work he posted.
Are the blue lines where the highlight is supposed to be?
No. These blue lines were just, I was talking about skin tone, lights, and then darks, and I was showing where they were, not necessarily going, hey, this is what you need to do.
Okay.
You missed that.
I know. I was trying to do my German, and I'm mad.
Why? You missed something?
Basoo sucks.
What?
Like,
No,
good,
don't do that.
It's good. I'm not going to delete it. I actually really like Basoo, but it always tells me I have weak grammar, but I just spent 10 minutes fixing my grammar, and if I go into grammar, it says it's perfect.
Right.
And I'm like, it's so annoying.
They just don't want to call it review. Then, I mean, I've realized that too, because I'd finished something and it was like, you got weak words. I'm like, really? No, I know. You told me I did 100% on that. They should have called it review. It's like, hey, do you want to do some review? Review these words.
Yeah, like what I think is because I think it's just a glitch. Like my phone on Basoo is very, very slow. That's the thing. And so I just think it hasn't gone through my phone that I fixed, because I went into the review spot where it wants you to go, so it'll stop sending you that little notification.
Right.
And it says it's all good there. Because when I do that with my words, like my weak words, it doesn't pop back up. But with my grammar, it's...
Yeah. Yeah, the light was very intimidating at first. I left parts white, but it didn't look right. Yeah, no, you can't, because it's not white. Nothing's white. The only thing that is actually white is the reflection of white in your iris. Right? So, and all that is a reflection of something that's super, super bright, and it's a reflection. If you see white on a person, it's not white. That's when you get to go, it's white-ish, right? Like, we get to see that it's very, 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 very light, right? Because his face didn't turn white. It's just, oh, if you're looking at, like, the color scale, it went, here's my mid-tone, here's my face, we're going all the way over here, but it's still got brown in it, right? Because his face is brown. It's not white. Like, no. Right? It's only reflections, and the only time that you go, I'm going to put white, especially like if you're doing digital, I'm going to put white somewhere, it's literally in the iris, and that's it. Like, nowhere else do you really put white if you're doing realistic. You'll see people that are like, oh, I'm going to put this white here on the nose and on the ear, right? And it's for visual effect. It's a place that is a focal point. Like, you're like, I want you to look here, I want you to look over there, and that's the main reason. But that's it, right? The iris has white, nothing else really does. So, let's see, I used to try realistic stuff. I came back to this and it was humbling. Yeah, oh no, if you're like, I'm gonna do realistic and you don't do it, like, I always hate, I don't hate it, but I hate it when I do my digital ink and paint class and I make them do the old man and I have to do my demo and I'm like, okay, so we're, and I'm like, wow, that looks really good. Look at that eye and nose. It's like, it looks really good. I should keep doing this. And then I'm like, wait a minute. I just spent an hour and a half painting an eye and it's nowhere close to being done. Like, it looks good, but it's not done. And I'm like, an hour and a half, and it's not done. Like, it's not anywhere remotely close to being done. Like, yeah, I'm not feeling that. Like, that's just me. I'm like, yeah, no. If I wanted it to be graphic, would I approach it differently than what you said as far as shading? Yes. Mostly because you're going to want to make sure you use less. Okay, you don't want 4 or 5 different colors bringing up the face, because it just looks like you're putting too many shapes. Because generally with graphics, you just have Gesundheit. You just have shapes, right? It's just shape. So if you're doing something, where's my pen? Okay, so if I was to come here, and I'm just gonna go and use your stuff, right? So if I come in here and I'm looking at this, first you'd have your base color, right? And you would draw that base on its own. But let's just say if I'm like, all right, so I'm gonna come here, and this is gonna be, that's still gonna be base, right? So I'm literally just drawing over what you had with the color that you used, right? So if we just go, and I'm just gonna do one side so you can see it. Okay, and then we come here and we're like, really not even looking at the guy's face. But if I'm like, all right, we'll do this. Now, you can do multiple colors. You can. I tend to stay away from it just because I want to keep it very like more of a drastic change between the two. You really get to see it. So I'm going to take this color to show you like a subtle difference, right? Because there we go. That's good, right? If you're going to do this graphic and you want to do multiple colors, your color selection has to be on point. Like, it has to almost look like it's blending on its own, right? And then you come in here, right? And this color is probably too light at this point, so you tone it down. But you know, so you just come in and tone, you just pick the right colors, right? Like, that's going to be important. And I think that if you have your color sheet, that's going to help you dramatically, right? Oops. There, and then come in here and you can actually draw in that nose if you wanted to. Now remember, I'm also going over the black line, which you wouldn't do. So, right, so you'd still have your black line indicating where stuff is and stuff like that. But you see, so now it's got more of a graphic shape. Okay, like I would tone this down, right? Because that's too much, or I would give this more, or I would give this one more saturation. But because I don't know the colors, right, I'm just guessing here, that's where I go. But the thing is that you can see, like, I have 4 colors in here, and I don't know if you guys can see that, but like this is really subtle, right? So if you're going to do multiple colors, you need to keep it subtle, but otherwise, you know, a nice contrast. This is too much, like this brownish that you had here is too much to then jump to this one, but you could go from this maybe to that, this, you can go from this to that, right? So that's what I would do. I mean, if you're going to do graphics, that's what I would do. And then you have to look at the shapes. That's what's going to be important. Don't make it up. All right, when you come in here, especially if you're doing reference, you need to come in here and look and go, okay, like if I'm gonna take this color, I'm gonna take this color, and I'm trying to do this guy's face, right? Then you got to come in and follow the shapes that he has, not get distracted by, oh wait, that's a darker color, because you're really only using like 3 or 4 colors, right? So you're like, there's my shape, this is here, all right? And then you could come in, since there is such a strong light here, right? You could come in and then add that kind of bluish brown that's there, right? But you want to make sure that you stick with the shapes that are there. That's the important part. Super important that you stick with the shapes that are actually there, right? Because then you'd come in with this one and everything else would be this color. Right? See? Oh, that was a little better. That is crazy. You just made it exactly how I wanted in 2 in like 2 minutes. I mean, the thing is that it's a graphic thing. You have to know. It's the same thing with like your logos. Remember, it's like you've got too much going on. You need to make it simple. Just keep it simple, and watch your colors. That's the thing. Like if you're gonna do markers, you have to invest in a butt ton of markers. I mean, that's just all there is to that, right? I have so many markers that it's kind of insane. But the thing is that you want to make sure that you have enough, right? You have the variety, you have replacements, because one of the things you never want to have happen is you start working on a project and you're like, all right, I'm gonna work, okay, and you think that all of your markers are brand new, and then you start working and then it starts dying. Because let me tell you, as a person who's done it, as a person who's been at a convention and working on a project, like you're just like, I'm working it, I'm moving this, I'm moving that, and life is great. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh my goodness, I still need to fill in these pants, and everything is gone, right? And you're just like, everything is gonna suck because it started streaking because it was dead, right? And you're like, no, where's the ink? No, right? And then you're sitting there making circles that in something that would take you like 3 minutes and it's now taking you 20 minutes because you're trying to squeeze every last bit of ink out of that marker before you throw it away. And that's a problem. Like you should always have, like, if you have a brand new marker, like you just picked it up, it's still not 100% because it could have been sitting there for a while. Or if you're, you go to a place like Michael's, people like to draw with them on all the papers and stuff, so you don't exactly know if you have a 100% marker. But, if you just picked it up, you're pretty safe. But if you've had your markers for like a month, and you're like, oh yeah, well I just bought this a little while ago, you might want to pick up another one just to make sure you don't run out of ink. It doesn't go that fast. It does not go that fast. But if you're doing a lot of work, if you start doing professional stuff, I'm telling you, there's nothing more crappy than your markers drying up on you. Noted. I have a lot to learn and a lot of practice to do. But if you keep at it, you're going to surprise yourself, man. Just look at the progress you made over the summer, right? You kept drawing and kept drawing and kept drawing, and you got so much better. Sometimes I go back to the basic drawing spheres and cubes and different lighting situations just to make... Yep. Like I'm about to, I think, starting next month, I like the idea of doing like a draw with me. Like I did that for a while, and I studied Alex Toth, and I just drew his stuff, just to go and learn from like the masters of before that interest me, that flow into what I want to do. There's nothing wrong with practice. I mean, so many people like just want to do their own thing, right? They're like, oh, well, I just want to draw. And you're like, that's cool, right? And I want to draw my own character. Also cool. But you need to come back around and then be like, you need to draw. right? You need to draw stuff that you hate and stuff like that. You know, you have to, because if you don't, you're gonna get rusty, and then you're just not gonna be able to do what you want to do. And even if you're like looking at this style, right? Gesundheit. Looking at this style, and you start realizing that, you know, a lot of my hands have become like graphic shapes. When I do it, it's like little flat pieces, you know, like I get rid of the third knuckle, you know, just for stylistic reasons, right? For stylistic reasons, Gesundheit, I get rid of certain things of hands and stuff like that. But what's crazy is, going over to my art desk here, which I need to get back to. This is my feet's one, but you know, you guys see that? Hand after hand after hand, Gesundheit, after hands and hands and hands, right? It's just me drawing hands again and again, sucking at some, going, wow, that is a horrible hand. I'm a professor. I've taught art for 15 years. I've been in the industry for 20 years. That hand sucked, right? And it's just practice upon practice upon practice and practice and more practice. And then you're going to do some more practice and more practice and more practice. And the reason why you do that is so that when you're in front of people, and I kid you not, this is why you do it. When you're in front of people and you draw a hand, they're like, oh my goodness, look at that hand, you know? And you're like, yes. And they're like, how'd you do that? I'm like, I practice for hours upon hours upon hours a day trying to get it, right? Like, and then you have to do what you suck at. I suck at feet. Like, I really, really stink at feet, right? So what do? We draw feet and shoes and feet in boots and toes and, you know, feet. Oh my goodness, look at this one. Look at that one. Look at that. That foot. What is that? Did somebody roll over that? It's like, is someone roll over his toes? Oh my goodness, right? But you know, like, I have to do it because, and I can see in my book, like when I first started, and then where I am when I finished. I'm like, okay, look, I'm actually getting better. Get a sketchbook, get a small sketchbook, from front to back, draw feet, front to back, draw hands, draw faces, draw expressions. Whatever it is, practice. Right? You have to practice because, like I said, the thing is that when you go somewhere, what you want to be able to do is pretty much put on a show, and you draw something, you're like, hand, you're like, whoa, that was awesome. How'd you do that? And like, I practiced that a lot. You know what I mean? It's like, that's it. Like, I practiced it a lot. I mean, because Chris, like, when you were like, oh my goodness, you did that in like 2-3 lines. Well, I've been doing that graphic style since college. Okay? So that means that while I was in grad school, I developed the understanding of like graphic marker work in my grad degree. So then I was out of school for a year. I've been teaching for 15 years. So 17 years of practice. Okay? 17 years of practice of doing that. Being able to look at something and go, and here's my shape. Here's my shape. This is the color I need. This is where I'm going to go with that, right? It's a lot of practice. And yeah, it looks cool when you do it to someone who hasn't had that much practice. But in essence, all it is that I get up hella early in the morning. Like, when I don't stream, I'm still drawing, technically. Like, I had to draw something else or I had to film something else. But I go, time to draw some hands, because I need to draw hands. You know, time to draw feet. Can't always draw, you know, crazy little chibi dudes with blades coming out of their arms. As much as they're fun. But, you know, and then I'm going to go back to anatomy. I think my draw with me for next month is going to be anatomy, because everyone can draw some more anatomy, right? Everyone can learn and continuously draw anatomy. And I think that's where I'm going to go. I'm going to do anatomy, like neck anatomy, you know, and actually try and simplify it. One thing that I realized that I really want to do is have a book that breaks down anatomy for us, right? Like, you have all the medical journals and all that stuff that really breaks it down, but then when you look at it, you're like, what do I really need, right? As an artist, how much do I need? Am I doing hyper realistic, or am I doing superhero figures? You know, it's like, what muscles do I really need to know if I'm doing a really big dude and a really small dude, you know? And I think that's really interesting to me, to have a simplified anatomy structure that will be beneficial and easy, right? Because I have a simplified anatomy book, and it's like, here, we drew this arm, and then it's like every, you know, muscle after muscle after muscle after muscle, and I'm like, those are all just the muscles, right? Instead of going, okay, well, here's this muscle, right? And it looks like a teardrop, and we can adjust that teardrop from wherever we are, you know, and it's always going to be that teardrop, you know. Whereas when you do the bicep, right, it's like, when it's elongated, it's like a long muscle, but then when you bring it up, right, and then show that as a simple, you know, like a simple drawing, and then it's like, oh, that would be cool, and you're like, okay, that's interesting, and then put it in these dynamic poses, you know. You're like, all right, so now we're going to talk about what we did, and we're going to put it foreshortened, you know, we're going to do this. So one of my next art books, so I'm working on the things they don't teach you in class books. I'm trying to pull together a whole bunch of professionals, from entrepreneurs, actors, you know, comic people, toy people, just a whole bunch of stuff that it's like, what would you tell someone who's in college, you know, or in high school? What should they know? What's the hard stuff that they need to know about? You know, stuff like that. Like, getting a degree doesn't guarantee you a job, right? So one thing that most people, especially as artists, and I think that's what I'm going for, more like artists and creatives. It's like, just because you have a degree doesn't mean it's going to get you a job. All right, that piece of paper is more of a personal, like, oh, I did this, yay, right? It's an expensive thing, and you know, if you need someone to be able to teach you, that really helps. Like, I don't learn well from books, so having someone to talk to and ask questions really is helpful. But I want to do a book like that, and also show that where the industry is going as far as education. And I think that this pandemic has proved that everything is going to go more towards online, especially with things like Zoom and Blackboard Collaborate, where you can actually see the person. And Discord now has made it so that you can have multiple people inside your Discord, you know, like your channel, so people can see you and stuff like that. So I think more and more it's going to be even more interactive, and I'm going to start playing around with, you know, maybe even personal classes with like 5 or 6 people, and we do it through Discord or something like that. I don't know, but like I said, stuff that we don't get in college. So that book, but art book wise, the next art book that I want to work on is going to be the simplified anatomy thing. And I think the best way to see if it's going to work is if I do it myself. Right? Like me, I have to practice and do it myself. All right, sorry, long ramble. Sorry. I'm gonna go through chat real quick. Draw with me would be awesome. I do it. Okay. Posted a few 3D pieces in the Discord. You invited me to stay on top of art. I'll side check you on workouts. Okay. You motivate me to stay on top of art. I'll side check you on workouts. All right. Accountability is always something, you know. It's like being able to be accountable. Posted some 3D work. You put in my Discord? Sweet. Where'd you post it? Got a couple of my things all blew up. Tell me where you posted so I can check it out. Made sure to pull the screen over just in case you don't want other people to see it. The lamest method to draw heads? No. Honestly, I need to go back and find a good way to describe how I do heads, because I don't remember what I learned. I'm not even gonna lie, like everything now is such muscle memory. Like I can teach you how to draw a head, but they're like, it's how I've adapted my own style over time. It really isn't a method. It's like, I know that this goes here, I know that this kind of goes here. Like I don't know there are certain measurements that I know, right? There's certain measurements that I know that I can tell you, but I need to go back to drawing the head and breaking down the planar shapes. One of the things that's super important, planar shapes, like knowing this and how this dips into your, this dips into your forehead and then back out and stuff like that. That's what's important. So, I'll probably be doing head studies and stuff like that just because I need it, right? And maybe I can convince my son to do it with me. Like he dabbles in, he doesn't dabble in art. He's really good at art, which is annoying as hell. Because if I put like chalk in front of him, he'll do an amazing piece of chalk art. If I put paint in front of him, he's like, look, I paint now. It's like, what the hell is going on here? We did. I had a computer. I got a computer from work, and it was a draw on the screen. And I was like, here, you should try this out. Do some digital thing. And he did this pear, and it's like, what the hell? The first time he was like, I watched a TikTok. I'm like, shut up. I watched a TikTok, a whole, like 5 minutes, and he's like, look at this awesome pear I did. It's like, but the thing is that recently he told me, he's like, I don't think I want to make this a career. And that's perfectly fine, right? Perfectly fine. So I keep throwing stuff, and like, oh, he wants to paint? All right, here's some good stuff. I'll show you some paint. All right. But, frustrating. So good.
I'm trying to do art again. I'm painting a chicken.
I know.
To redraw.
You're sculpting. Oh my goodness, I love sculpture. I love seeing sculpture.
Oh, that looks cool. The octopus
Yeah.
thing.
This is really cool. I like this.
Cool.
How big are they? Because if this is your keyboard, it doesn't look like they're too big. Which is awesome that you're doing this at such a small scale. That's
Sculpting is
so cool.
I can't sculpt. But
You can sculpt.
no, I actually can't.
Look at this heart.
They sculpted that. That's cool.
That's awesome, man. That's really cool. I like that a lot. That heart is awesome. Just some recent daily sketches. This is gonna be Groot.
Groot.
Groot. I'm Groot. But these are great, man. Yes. Don't stop.
Yes. Never stop.
No. Molding someone, casting them. Yeah. That's cool. How big are they? How big are these? Because these would be really cool, like just having, little head figurines and stuff that you could like put up at, if we ever get to go back to conventions and stuff. You could have up on a table and people could buy them. That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Said self-promotion. Oh, look at that. 3D modeled car. That's nice.
It's a real car.
It's 3D modeled. It's in the computer.
Can you make a car, like a working car, out of a 3D printer? Like,
Yes.
obviously you need an engine.
You need an
and stuff.
engine, but yes, you can. Yes, you can. Someone, I forgot who did it. Mr. Bakia was talking about it, that they 3D printed a car.
Oof.
That's cool. Since you know you didn't put it in the critique corner, I'm keeping my teacher hat off of my head. Oh snap! Mike says you can 3D print an engine.
You can?
I mean, it makes sense. They're all parts, so it makes sense that you could do that. I guess the material you would need would just have to be able to withstand the heat that it would generate to make it work.
Just had to stay like metal because it's hot.
Well, they've got so much material now that they're. I think someone. I want to say someone almost bulletproof. They made it like a bulletproof vest. They 3D printed the stuff on the inside for a 3D vest, or I mean a bulletproof vest. So they have material now that you can do pretty much almost anything with, which is what makes 3D printing amazing. And I'm really surprised that it hasn't taken off more. I mean, I know that it's gotten big, but that it's not like big that people aren't going, wait a minute, I can 3D print my car? Yeah, it's going to be a lot of work and I can put it together, but I can 3D print my car? You know, so stuff starts getting a lot. Rocket Labs is a space company that 3D prints their rocket engines. That's pretty sweet.
Oh, what the heck?
See, like everything now should be becoming cheaper.
Oh, dude, there's these houses. It has nothing to do with 3D printing, right? But like you can design your own house because they're like pieces, like they stick together, like the walls stick together, and you can move them around.
That's cool.
And it's like actually better for the environment too. And they're still trying it out. Like they can make like a house for you and mommy. It's not like a family house, right? Because they're still working.
They're still working on it.
But you can have like a little house. No, it's like
that's cool.
You can build yourself a house, like a Lego house.
Oh, I gotta find that because I just recently became reintroduced to tiny houses, and I'm like, a tiny house. So I could do a tiny house the way I want it as a studio. Like I could make my own studio.
That'd be cool.
And then I watched this one guy, and he was like, "Oh, well, I built my tiny house out of, not refurbished, but like acquired material, and he spent like $1,500, and he's got this house, right? I mean, it looks weird because like the front and left panel are made out of wood, and then the back and right panel are made out of like sheet paneling."
Oh, so it's not like the prettiest house,
but it's very functional. I mean, and it was a 13-year-old kid who made a house that's got electricity and you know and stuff like that, and so it's like that's really cool. And so I'm going, well, wait a minute, maybe if we do some research, we could do some really cool stuff. And now looking at this, going, wait a minute, so we can 3D print a lot of stuff. So it's like, huh.
3D print your own house.
Well, maybe not 3D print the house, but like 3D print a lot of the pieces. Like, you know, I know that Mr. Bakia and Mr. JR, they got a printer now that prints 6 feet. Like, it just, right? Like you can print, so you could print like a door.
Print you.
Yeah. You know, it's like you could do these things now, and it's like, that's so amazing. And it's time, right? Yes, you invest like, let's just say you invest, I don't know how many thousands of dollars it costs to get this printer. Anything, right? Then come out and like, I'm going to print this bookshelf. I'm going to print this table. I'm going to print, you know, you're going to print all these things. That's just cool. Like, that's awesome. Like, I asked him to print something. No. What was it? He printed like gears, and so they opened and it was like, and I was like, oh my goodness! And he was like, yeah, it took like a day, right, to print all the pieces, but then look at what it does, and you're like, that's just cool, you know? I'm like, that's just cool. I'm gonna have to look into that. I want to look into it more because that kind of stuff really interests me, and if I can go. Like, if I could go and purchase, like, a rundown lot you know, and they're like, well, it only costs this much money, and I can put a tiny house on it. You know what I mean? It's like, I put a tiny house here.
Can I help you make a tiny house?
Yes.
Build a house, and I don't know why, but I want to.
Sure, we could. Well, you know what? Maybe we'll look into plans for tiny houses and stuff like that, because I'm not building a tiny house from scratch.
I know.
You know, like, I'm gonna cut everything in sand, and because I have, it's, well, the thing is that it's, at that point, it's like, it's all super custom, and you're like, all right, that's cool. But I'm like, I don't have the tools to literally cut straight lines, right? Like, I would need different tools to cut it. But if you're like, oh, well, I can put this all together, like, we can buy the beams of wood that are already cut, you know, and then put that, I can do that. But when it's like, oh, well, you need to cut this joist, I'm like, I don't have the tool to do that. So, but anyway.
I always wanted to build like a log house, like the Pioneer shows.
Mm-hmm.
But I have nowhere to build it, and I'm
Right.
not allowed to cut down trees in the woods, so like,
Right.
I can't build it.
Well, that's the thing. We'll have to. There's a lot of looking that we're gonna have to do and see what we can do. Oh, by the way, those pieces that we looked at, those sketches, they're 3" by 3".
That's tiny.
They're tiny. They're tiny with
That's
all.
kind of cool.
Yep.
I could put that on my shelf, and no one will ever break it.
Yep.
Because there's still people in there.
That's cool, man. 3" by 3". That's cool.
Except for the- you know my brown shelf?
Man, Mike, you threw me on a huge loop with all that. I'm just up here staring and like not doing anything with my stuff. Sorry. I normally can talk and draw at the same time, but that was too awesome. Too awesome. It's like, so I hope you guys can forgive me on that one. Between 3D printers and YouTube tutorials, you could take over the world. That's true. I mean, the thing is like, and that's, you know, and that's one of the things that like I'm gonna be talking about in my, you know, this is what they don't teach you in schools, is that you don't have to go to school. Like, you don't have to go to college. That is an antiquated, it's an antiquated idea, you know, that if you don't go to college, you know, the doors will be locked to you forever. You'll never have the keys to the castle. You know, all that stuff that they ram down your throat in, you know, TV specials and stuff like that. Like, before, absolutely agree. Like, that was definitely the way that it was. There's no denying that. You went to college, all these opportunities presented themselves to you. But, you know, not everyone, the problem with that is that not everyone learns that way. And that was a big issue. Like, not everyone learned or wanted to go to college, and so they weren't allowed to do some of the cool things that they were really capable of doing, but, you know, they needed to learn it a different way. And so now, with YouTube and Udemy and Skillshare and all these other places that now exist, that if you can learn online through just watching someone do it, you don't need to go to school. You just learn to do it. But the thing is that you gotta be really dedicated. That's the problem, because it's a self-study. And what's always funny to me is when people are like, oh no, I'm self-taught. No, you're not. You are not. Okay, self-taught means you picked up something and you're like, oh, I saw someone draw. And so I picked up a pencil and I just started drawing, and I was able to teach myself anatomy and proportion and all. Everyone who's like, I'm self-taught. I'm like, no, you're not. Someone showed you something somewhere. And that means that somebody taught you. Why are you not letting me erase? Oh, there we go. No, it's because it's user error. But the thing is, if you can be self-motivated and you're like, no, I got this, I want to learn, I can do this, then great. You can go online and be absolutely freaking fantastic. And you should go do that. I'm a teacher, for crying out loud, right? I like the idea of sitting in front of people and being able to pass on my knowledge, but that's more of a mentorship type plan. Like, I really enjoy that. But if you're like, I don't want to learn that way, like that doesn't fit my lifestyle or whatever, you don't have to. But you do have to be dedicated to make sure that you're awesome. And nowadays, like, even like chiropractors, people, Dr. Pimple Popper, right? It's online. She's making quadrillions amounts of dollars. She's a doctor that does very very specialty dermatology things. But then also is now making money because of her YouTube channel, where she showed everything and everyone went bananas and watched that. And because of that, she got a TV show about it, right? So if you don't want to go to college, but you stick to it, you learn, you do it on YouTube or Twitch or Mixer or any of these places that have the ability to live stream, and you stick with it and then be awesome, then you can become, either famous or self-sufficient, but it does take time. It takes time. You're all of these people who are like, oh my goodness, they're overnight sensation. No, talk to the overnight sensations. Right? Talk to your overnight sensations and actually ask them, like, did you start, last week? Because we can give you, we'll give you some time, right? Overnight sensation doesn't mean that you literally started yesterday and now you're fantastic. But ask them. Ask any overnight sensation and see if they are like, no, I started last week. I just happened to be really, really good. It's not going to happen. They're going to be like, no, I've been singing for 15 years, right? And I just got my break. That's why I like the term like rising star or emerging star, emerging artist or something like that, because they're new. Fine, I get it, they're new. But that doesn't mean that they haven't been hustling for years trying to make something for themselves. And saying that they're an overnight sensation really takes away from the hard work and dedication that they've put forth to their craft. So, but you can literally go off and do all these things on your own. A friend of mine right now is literally making his own game. And I know that that's not, people are like, yeah, so people make their own games all the time. The man's making this game by himself. And I know that I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to do the same thing, but he is already eons ahead of me because he's already got a working game. And I'm just playing character designer. Because it's something I like to do. But the funny part is that he's gonna have his own game. He's making it on his own. He's doing it the way he wants it to be done. And the thing is that, does he have a job? Yeah, he's still working somewhere, but he's doing this too. So he's putting in the extra time and effort and all that stuff to make sure that he can do what he wants, when he wants, how he wants. And if you are willing to put in the time and effort, you too can also be an overnight sensation.
Who's making a game by himself?
You don't know him.
Is it a cool game?
It's pretty fun. I mean, it looked fun from what he was showing.
Yeah, I just mean, does it seem fun?
Seems fun.
It's clearly not finished.
Right. It's like a resource management type thing where you get to fight people and stuff like that. It looked fun.
There's a game on like a mobile game called OK Karen.
Huh. OK Karen. Bam, done. Look, even after all that, we finished our inks. Finished our inks. Let's see, what time is it? 7:30. Normally go until about 8. And at least
7:30.
yeah.
I have to wake people up.
Joshua ain't helping. Butchie ain't helping nobody. Butchie ain't helping nobody. He's like, you know what's gonna happen? Nothing. I ain't helping you at all. Multiply. Alright, so now we get to snag colors from places. Ugh. Brush. Oh, we're not done yet, people. Not done yet. Forgot a piece. It's really funny when you put it on multiply and white becomes your eraser. Find that funny. All right, there we go. It's like, whoops. All right, now. This one, and this one. This one, and this one. We're gonna turn this off because that is now distracting. Is that the yellow we want? Like, is that the yellow we want? Doom, doo, doom, doom, doom. Can you turn that very loud music down? Thank you. It's because it was very loud. Yes. Oh, I thought it was done phase of the drawing. Every time. Oh, dang it. Ugh. Clean up. You gotta get in those gaps. Yeah.
Is the washing machine coming today?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Do you know what time they're supposed to come?
Between 11:45 and 3:45.
They might come during. Do you have your orientation thing today?
No.
That's good. They're long and boring and never end at the right time.
Yep. No, but I do have to do my schoolwork.
For your orientation?
Yeah. For the orientation. Got to make sure that I, teach. Oops. Or I'm allowed to teach.
Yeah, I needed to know because Mommy said we needed to clean up the
I
living
know.
room and the dining room.
I
a
know.
lot. And mostly for the dining room, she means push the table and chairs out the way.
Yep. I know.
Oh, scratch. Puppies ate their pumpkin.
What? There's a pumpkin in there?
No. So, Mom, you know, the Nana Colleen's thing?
Uh-huh.
There was one that was running because, like, something got to it and it was dying.
No, we
So
only
gave
had
it-
3 in there.
So it gave it to the puppies.
We only have 3 in there.
Yeah, but the big one's still there.
At least there's that. But still, that's sad.
Yeah. Are you winning, Butch?
Yes.
It's like, no. Let me tell you about a little story about no.
Why did you buy the roof on
Because I'm saving up for the 9th slot or 10th or whatever it is. Also, I can't find out where you buy them.
in the shop?
No, but they haven't been popping up for me to buy them.
So rude.
I'm not rude.
Rude.
He's not rude, Daddy. He's just French.
Oh, that's right. Not rude. You're just French.
Now say something in French.
Baguette. Okay.
You can't come because you don't speak French.
Okay.
Oh, no.
All right, so
Bye, Shogun. Bye, Shogun.
do this, and this, and still need to select and modify. Expand by 2.
Oh, Daddy, you wanna know something that I didn't put together when you said it rained?
What's that?
Is that now your pool's all wet again.
I know.
You just spent like all day waiting for it to dry, and then it rained.
I know. It wasn't supposed to rain either. That was the thing that was really upsetting.
It didn't look like it was gonna rain like all like day.
It was
super...
It's like it's not supposed to rain. I'm like, awesome.
But it's cold outside.
Not still horribly raining, isn't it?
No.
No, stop.
It's just wet and slippery and cold.
Mm.
But it's not slippery on the sidewalk, only in our backyard.
What did you eat? Cool, eat.
What time is it? Well, you came down here.
Let's see. Yes, I was like, okay, why don't you put an action group on your expand task?
Hi, Sean.
The thing is that, like, I really just want to do this one on my own. It's all good. There's no worries. An action group. Oh, on my. Oh, I'm sorry. That's what you mean? That's a good point. I forgot about using actions. But I do use that one a lot. Expanded by 2. That's a good point, man. I should just go ahead and do that. Oh, well, you know what? Now I know, because I was like, I had it. Now I remember why I stopped using it was because I programmed that action on my work computer, and I'm not working on my work computer, and I forgot to put it on my home computer. So, just like I don't have my camera flip, I need that too. So, looks like I have some programming to do. I got some behind the scenes stuff to put together. Because I need to adjust some stuff on my Twitch account. I want to do something with my channel points. Make sure I get that. So I think to award the people that are who stick around on my channel, I think that like the big one that they have listed on there, I'll make it so that it's like, hey, if you know,
Can't be under my
if you
chair.
do this, like if you do this, I'll draw a ninja, right? And then I can send them that ninja. Alright, so there's the flats. Flats done. I mean, this one's pretty easy, so. So that means that now I can actually make this. I can copy it.
Gotta move.
But I don't want to.
I'm gonna go eat.
Okay, you should do that.
Let's just fire.
Oh.
Die,
Oh.
die.
Oh. Goodness. So. Oh.
He's dead.
I was like, is he dead? Or my goodness.
Kept running away.
Well, I mean, there was a giant that was trying to kill him. Dog's going crazy. Nobody is going to see this little detail that I just put there. Nobody. Nobody's going to see that in the final piece. Except me. Like, I'm going to see it. I think we're just going to go ahead and make this one all this color. Like, because it's behind there. We're gonna have the light coming from here. I mean, I could do a highlight in there just for.
I'm going.
There, that's not. And see, and then that looks weird the other way. So maybe if we just did this. And we'll leave it there for right now. We'll figure it out in a minute. So like that, bam, bam, bam. Yellow's done, save. Like yellow's done, save. This character has a very limited amount of A colors and B, you know, massive amounts of detail, so this one should be, I might just be able to finish this one. White, 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 white. Okay. A little blue gray. Hi, you're back.
I'm getting salsa.
Salsa.
Yeah. I'm having the rest of the rice. Because I want it.
Okay.
And because there's not enough on it. Like, it's the only one who will last. Stop following me around. It's cold. I hate the cold, dog. Up.
Alright, so there's that. Guess we'll do this one real quick and get into the hard stuff. The hard stuff. So Mike, did you finally make it to the gym? Actually chimed in after the gym. Now on my way to work. Ah. Where do you work, if you don't mind me asking? Where are you flexing your creative talents? I rendered the interiors of Friar Jackson Gulfstream Aerospace. Nice. Interiors? Jeez. How's that? You like it? Let's see if we can manage this one. I guess we'll accept that. We will accept it. Yeah, man, love it. It's been sweet. I post you some work later on. Nice. Nice. Looking forward to that. Dang it. Not on the right color. There we go. Then Girl. How long have you been with Gulfstream? Three and a half years now. Grad out of Virginia Beach, then got picked up here after a few freelance contracts. Nice. Nice. That's fantastic.
We're out of milk
How are you out of milk?
because we used it all.
How? There's a whole thing of milk. Like, you used a whole that whole gallon of milk?
That's a gallon?
Well, no, it's a half gallon.
Well then yes.
Just now?
Yeah, we just went, no, not just now. We used it.
No, I mean, did you just finish it?
Yes.
Okay, so I need to get you more milk.
Yes. And is there more milk like there? Oh, in
There's more milk in the freezer.
the upstairs freezer?
No.
Okay.
And if you want to put one of those other milks in there right away.
Don't tell that's some milk.
Do you know the other one that I'm talking about?
What?
You want to put the other milk in there. Is brown awake?
No.
Okay, grab one of the square milks.
Like
The one that's in the rectangle box.
oh.
Alright.
Got it.
Good job. So there's that. Good, I'm glad. I happen to like him too. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna put my patented. I'm gonna put my whatchamacallit on it now. My rim light thing that I do. Then we'll add a. We will add a. Crap. We'll add a little shine to the blade. Maybe a little design to the background. And yep, I set up a YouTube to stream my sculpting, but haven't gotten to it yet. Oh man, when you do, let me know. Let me know. Yep, like I said, about 8 o'clock, that's when the kids really get ready. Especially my youngest, so 8:02, yeah. It's like, yeah, it's about time. That. Behind the shoe. Make this a little interesting. We'll do that. Pull that rim light out. Like so. Almost there. Almost there. Oh man, that would be awesome. I would love that. And depending on what you want, like what kind of, how you want to go, I have more, comic style characters instead of chibis, or if you like the chibi ones, I got those too. Yeah, heck yeah. I even have turnarounds. So there's that. Bam. Bamskis. Alright, now we're going to come up here. Up here. We're going to add screen mode. Going to go to brush. Go to brush. That brush. Then your add. I'm going to drop that to there. Come in here. I don't know, you know what? Probably should make it just a little bit more blue. Thank you. Alright, so too big. There we go. There we go, a little glowy glows. I also have a story that would be a sweet comic. I'm just not a 2D artist. I tried once. Draw it out. God, it was not my best work. Well, you know, might be some people that I know. Might be able to help you out with that. Make this just a little bit smaller. Dominating the page too much. Go. There we go. Now we're going to put these marquees in here. I'm going to use the same ones that I did for the original. That. Fill. Then. Oh no! Forgot. There we go. There we go. There we go. Moving on down. Okay, and then we had two coming up this way. Ooh. We don't like that. We don't like tangents. Alright. There we go. There's my dude. All done. We're going to save. Wham, bam, thank you. All done. Sweet. Alright. Well, thank you guys so very much for hanging out. My kids are upstairs. I got to make sure that I get them something to eat and, you know, be the dad. So, thank you so much for hanging out. It was awesome. Thanks for the subscriptions. Again, means a lot. The support really helps out. I hope you enjoyed yourself. We're going to keep making characters. I think that on my YouTube channel, well, maybe this one too, I'll be doing a draw with me. We'll start doing that whole anatomy thing. And then, yeah, we're just going to go from there. But definitely going to be doing some world building as soon as I get all these characters transferred over. And yeah, we'll have a good time. Hope you enjoy it. We are going to continue to draw ninjas. If you have the ability to support me, go check out my Patreon. Once again, all support really helps and allows me to continue to make this the way that I want to make it, the way that you think would be cool. And yeah, we'll go from there. So for all of you who are witnessing the Ninja Empire, want to be part of the Ninja Empire, or who are part of the Ninja Empire, remember, born a ninja, die a ninja. All right, I'll see you guys later.